In this video, we talk about the number one skill that you need to have to be a successful fitness, boxing, personal trainer. What's up, personal trainers? My name is Coach Fatboy Shrink. I'm one half of this amazing show. I want to welcome you guys to the MIttwork University Podcast. The goal of our show is to help teach you real boxing mittwork that you can add into your existing personal training / gym business and teach you the entrepreneurship / sales skills to go along with that so that you can turn that into a high impact, high income personal training / gym business. Now, with that being said, I quickly want to go over a couple of the things that we discussed in this episode. We quickly talked about how I went from a 320-pound fat boy into being a fitness boxing trainer that specializes in extreme weight loss transformations. Number one, we talk about the importance of being able to deal with many different types of personalities, aka communication with different types of clientele to be successful in this business. Number two, we talk about the client first framework, which we use to try to add more value to our clients so that we can make more money. And lastly, we talk about what is the difference between training a fitness client versus training a competing fighter. So these are some of the things that we talked about today. Hope you guys enjoy. So let's get into the show. Boom.
Yeah. Okay. So here would be probably my first question. Okay. All right. I think I got an idea where the name came from, but why Fatboy Shrink? Like, out of all the names that you could have picked, why Fatboy Shrink?
Number one, I wanted a name that would stand out. That was my number one thing. Number two, I was 320 pounds. I started boxing to lose weight. And my original goal with this business was, and it still is, to basically solve fat boy problems, meaning fat boys and fat people. I'm not saying this in a derogatory way because I used to be fat. We have a certain set of problems that other people may not have, right? So something is like, when you're super big, like your legs shake. There was times when during the summer, it was hard for me to walk down the street because my legs were shaking because I was so big, right? So I kind of wanted to set a community and a home and help people that were going through what I had gone through before. So the shrink is two-part, which is number one, like a psychologist, and number two is to get smaller. So it kind of had a double meaning. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, this might be a little personal. How I want to say, and I'm only asking maybe because, like I said, I can't exactly relate. I was like, but were you always like a bigger guy? Did you progress to get bigger? Like I think you as a person, like how, how was that like transition from, getting to a certain size and then trimming back down?
I remember I ate a lot. That I do remember that. I didn't know I was actually fat until I was sixth grade. I think I came back from elementary school one day. My dad's like, "What is that?" And he lifts up my shirt and he goes, "You have man boobs." He didn't exactly say like he's Korean, so he goes, "Hey, you have tits." And I was like, "What is that?" Right? So I think from that point on, I had this massive complex about having man tits. That's when I started to have the hunchback. Even now, even when I do push-ups or squats, or if you see me from the side, my back's not straight. So even till this day, it's kind of like a side effect of me. I was always hunched over. I would always kind of like walk around like this. And I'm 6'4", right? So as tall as I am, I always try to make myself smaller because I don't want to be seen by other people.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when I started to lose the weight, it was like me against the world. I wanted revenge in the world. I'm going to like everybody that me. I'm going to just flex on them. And so there was a lot of rage behind that. Yeah. And then as I was getting in better shape, people were giving more attention. I didn't go on my first date until I was 27. No school dances. No, like when you're younger, like your friends like, "Oh, bro, like, you meet my homegirl, like, let me hook you up," right? There's none of that, right? So when there's parties, nobody's calling me. So I just didn't get to live the typical high school, college. I felt like I missed out on a lot. And one of my big things was I wanted to make up for lost time. So when I started getting in shape, I was like, I think I didn't know how to act because I had a new body, I had new attention. Yeah, there was a few years where I just kind of turned into because I felt like that's what I earned to be able to do to people. And obviously I was wrong. But over time, I was able to kind of be able to mix the transformation and the personality back to being myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Dang. So you had lost the weight first, right? And then you had started coaching, or was it kind of like an ongoing thing where they kind of went like in the same line at some point?
That's a great question. So I started boxing when I was like 25. I walked to my first gym, which was pound for pound boxing. It used to be on Wilshire and La Brea. And at that time, I didn't know anybody that was fitness boxing. It was like unheard of. Obviously, like every kid watched Rocky movies. Oh my God, that's to be super cool. And so I saw a sign for a boxing gym on my way back from work. So I stopped by one day. I said, "You guys have fitness classes?" They said, "We absolutely do." I walked in and I was like, oh my God, like, where have I been? Like, I need to be here. Number one, I was never an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
I played a little bit of tennis in high school, but never played basketball, baseball. I was not athletic. But when I went to a boxing, I was like, man, like I've never felt more at home. Okay. And so I got addicted to it. I was obsessed with it. Yeah. And then I fell in love with it. And even like 6 months into my boxing journey, I think I used to carry pairs of mitts. I had no idea what to do with it. I had nobody to hit them with, but I think I carried mitts with me. Yeah, because I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And so the whole becoming a trainer thing it was like I was continuing on my journey. I started to add it into, I became a personal trainer at 24 Fitness. And then I actually started to go, you know what? I kind of gave that up because I kind of got tired of that. Then I took a little break. I came back and then I went full force, like May of 2018.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's been roughly like, that's when I met you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's around that time. Yeah. I didn't know that you were a trainer at 24. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, for a long time, like 3-4 years.
Oh shit, okay. That's a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that you took some of that, like I would say some of that intel and used it when you started coaching boxing?
Absolutely. Because I think as a trainer, one thing I struggled with a lot at first was we're not training bodybuilders, we're not training fighters, so whatever crazy dreams I had about we're gonna have these intense workouts and like everything's gonna be all great and they're going to listen to everything that I say. And like, it's not that perfect. We are in business because people don't want to work out, so there was a whole, like, how do I talk to these people so I can motivate them? How do I set up a system for them to get the best results without overwhelming the client? I think there's a lot of soft skills that goes into being a trainer, right? Like not just the hard skills of how to do a squat or how to do a deadlift or, how to hold the mitts, like run the combination, right? It's important. That's actually the easy part. That's the easy part.
I want to say maybe the hardest thing that I struggle with was I would say would be just learning how to work with different kinds of people. I don't know if you might have ran into that issue. Yeah,
all the time. I still deal with it.
Yeah, because everyone you get is always going to be very different. Like, you're never going to get two people that are alike. You might get similarities, but sometimes you run into the same problem more than once, and you have to kind of go after it like in very different directions.
Absolutely. Just the way I kind of put it in my head, and I've described to other trainers like this, was having a fitness business is like you're dating multiple people at the same time, right? So if you have, right, I think that's the best example I can come up with. So if I have 5 clients back to back on Monday, each person that comes in has a different need. Everybody has a different personality. Everybody needs to be spoken to in a different way. They react to things differently. I have to say certain things. One person might react a little bit more to me kind of like bulldozing. One person has to be spoken to very soft. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different, everybody's different. So I feel like the dating portion is that's where the actual skill of being a really next level trainer comes in.
It's the ability to be able to work with everyone, and
that's right.
And blend them well at that. Yeah.
Right. And these are things that I was never taught. I just, I did have one mentor that was really good about it. He was a veteran trainer at 24 Fitness. He's still a trainer, and he's amazing. Not only did he kind of teach me how to train people, but also how to work the soft skills, which is just as, or even more important than the actual training itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where I would say it would get more technical.
Yes.
What obviously there's a need for it to make money in this business, right?
Yes.
But what geared you to become more business oriented? Besides the need, what geared you to make Fatboy Shrink a more business oriented?
Client first. So I'm human. So obviously I want to make more money. Like I have thoughts of like, being greedy and let's do this and charge everybody for this and that. And But I think at the core, I'm not perfect, but as best as possible, when I make decisions, the filter that I try to put the decision through is this going to bring value to the client? Or how can I bring more value to the client? Because value equals money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of thinking about how can I make more money, how can I add more value? The more value that I can bring, the more that I can over deliver, then the more money that I can make, right? So money actually is just a side effect of bringing more value.
I like that. That's a different way of that's a little bit different. Yeah, I think it's more or less around the same lines. I think what I've said is just be more passionate about the job itself, and the money kind of comes with it. More or less around the same lines. Yeah,
absolutely. With that being said, I think we're going to try to land this plane. Is there anything else you want to add, Coach? How do program workouts that actually lead somewhere that doesn't seem repetitious?
And that's hard because this sport requires a lot of repetition.
Right. And so, that's such a great point, and I think we will tackle more over time.
Yeah, because unfortunately, at times it's like weight loss. If you're doing a particular thing and it's working, and you're losing the weight and you're getting the muscle mass, there's no reason to change it. Sometimes the only reason why you want to change it is because you're bored, but not because the program doesn't work. And I feel like I've had that before with like some of like the ladies that we have in camp where the food's working, the exercise is working, but they're like, I want to do something else now. I'm like, but why? Like it's working. Like you should keep doing it until it does not work. But it's the same thing in boxing. You sometimes have to do a routine over and over and over, even as much as it works. But if they're like, man, I'm tired of the combo, I'm saying. It's hard to
that's the difference. That's the difference between, obviously I don't train pros, but I've seen Justin train countless pros, right? Yeah. But that's the difference between training a pro and training a fitness client is that you tell the pro, throw this right hook 5,000 times and he's just going to do it. We're going to throw it 5,000 times because there is an end goal. Yeah. There is a fight. Here's an opponent. This is a game plan. This is a punch that we need to execute as perfectly as possible, right? So that fighter will sit there and throw that right hook on that heavy bag 5,000 times if that's what it takes, right? Mm-hmm. But a fitness contest is very different, And we cannot exactly take the same model of how to train a fighter as to how you would train a fitness client, in my opinion, from what I've observed.
Yeah, I would say for a pro, it always kind of cuts down to sharpening up basics and sticking to a particular game plan. With fitness clientele, it's finding ways to get creative and keep moving them around, for sure.
Right. That's about it. Thanks for joining us for episode 2 of the MIttwork University Podcast. We really appreciate you guys for tuning in. And 2 things before we let you guys go. Number 1, if you are currently a trainer, whether boxing or just fitness or both, we would love to know your name, which gym you work in, and also the city, right? So if it was me, then I would just comment in the comment section, Ken, Self-Made Hollywood, and Los Angeles, California. So, and very lastly, if we have added some value to your fitness business, please share with some of your fellow personal trainers. And lastly, if you really feel like a gangster and a champ, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Boom.